Hey, it's Drybear. Another day has passed and some more news has risen to the surface in Stalker 2, some more responses from the devs, and a lot of us are eagerly waiting the first update, which is supposed to be just around the corner. First, let's go through the official responses from the community manager that give us more insight into the game that we didn't know already. The first one is actually a very fair question I think a lot of people were confused by. If you have a suit that has a helmet item and a chest item, it's a singular piece. When you put it on your character, it will equip both and your head slot will be blocked out. However, you can also use suits that have no headpiece to them and equip a separate head item like goggles or a mask. However, on these items, they have the exact same stats except there's physical protection. And so people were asking, how do these things get added together? How do I compare a full suit that has a helmet with a suit and a helmet as separate items that have their own stats? They asked this directly, and the community manager responds that the helmet gives head protection and the armor gives body protection. So if you're damaged or shot in the chest, it'll use the physical protection from your armor, and if you're damaged or shot in the head, it'll use your headpiece, and if you have both, it'll use those together. Which honestly is kind of self-explanatory in how you would expect it to work, but I think with most things in Stalker 2, there's just a little bit of explanation required based on how it's presented to the user and how things work, so it's nice to have that clarification. There's also some clarifications on what things are bugs versus not. Someone asked if there is a situation where a skiff pistol just disappears, and the community manager confirms this is a known bug where the skiff's pistol will just disappear. There's also a bunch of confirmed bugs right now that you may be experiencing where the items in your inventory may just suddenly appear. There's actually some code that's running that's trying to get weapons to spawn in the hands of NPCs, bandits, people walking around. However, that bug is causing those weapons that are spawning for the NPCs to also spawn in skiff's inventory. So if you're running through an open field and all of a sudden a weapon materializes in your hands, or you see a weapon in your inventory that wasn't there before, that is a known bug where weapons are just randomly appearing, and there's also a known bug where Skiff's pistol is randomly disappearing. Community is asking if we could get a percentage of players that have gone down each storyline. There are 4 confirmed endings to the Stalker 2 main story, and then one of those is going to be confirmed for the upcoming DLCs. If you'd like to be part of that, then it'll be confirmed for that canon, and there's other options depending on what choices you make. I'm not going to spoil the choices that are like more about the things that you do throughout the mid and late game, but in general, there are going to be options that you'll make, and they said that they might put out an infographic on decisions, placements, and how players are going through the storyline. Now, if you haven't made it past the halfway point of the game, there are actually a lot of very major problems with the quest lines, storylines, and encounters towards the second half of the game. This is when it's becoming more and more apparent. I'm not going to spoil you on the storylines and why, but there are many major encounters that you're going to run into in the second half of the game that just don't work. They lock you out. Specific NPCs that you need to interact with or potentially kill, those become invincible. There's a ton of problems, and so a lot of questions have been asked around which of these are going to be fixed in the upcoming patch that has already started having its release candidate files uploaded to Steam, and hopefully will get greenlit for the end of this week, like tomorrow or potentially Monday or Tuesday, to get the game in better order. The community manager confirms that just like the good old days is getting multiple fixes for the upcoming patch. There's also a quest line that ends up in Zalicia later on at the middle part of the game that has some major issues with it. Without giving too much detail on what this quest line is, that specific bug that is well known to people that have made it far enough into the game is getting some changes and some fixes in the next upcoming patch as well. So if there are situations where you're far enough in the game and some things have happened involving the town of Zalicia, that will be in the next upcoming patch. Even to the point that lots of people on the Steam Reddit, the Steam forums and the Reddit are also complaining a lot about these quests. I was personally having some issues with chasing ghosts more recently. There's also a lot of people talking about the good old days having a lot of issues just completely blocking progress, which is leaving a lot of people to question whether they want to continue playing the game right now. Many people, even people that are very much Stalker veterans, are saying that they're going to wait until several patches come out a little bit longer to see if things get fixed up before they get their experience ruined by game-breaking bugs. Some people have had their save files bricked a little bit. They've had to roll back to autosaves so they can fix a quest that gets stuck, an NPC that disappears and goes through the floor, or various other issues. So I'm curious what percentage of you guys out there are having these same kind of dilemmas. If you're playing through the game and just muscling through and getting it done, if you're someone who has been waiting to see how things go, or if you're just sitting on the sidelines enjoying the show of people going back and forth on what they they want to do. Regardless, for almost a full week straight, Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl was the top-selling game on Steam and likely to be in the top 3 for Xbox from that same platform. Only recently, as of this morning, getting eclipsed by the early access purchases of Path of Exile 2. Stalker 2 also peaking at 121,000 concurrent, which is an excellent number for a $60 priced game that is obviously having some issues right now, still peaking daily between 85 and 90,000, and sitting right now at the making of this video, 75,000 CCU on Steam alone, which of course doesn't include the Game Pass versions or the Xbox version. Now, I'm nearing the final portion of my playthrough through Stalker 2, and I have had my fair share of issues. I've had tons of things break, durability problems. I've been able to navigate the economy just fine. All I've done so far has just been picking up everything that I can, unloading every weapon, looting every weapon, dropping weapons that are red, and just making regular trips to the traders to sell off everything that I own. It takes a little bit longer, but getting enough economy to balance out what you have is very important, and also managing your ammo can be very important as well. But I'm curious what tips you guys have for people that are struggling to make it through the zone, and where you sit in the overall experience as well. Are you struggling with any part of the game, and how are things lining up for you? Speaking of struggling in Stalker news, the release of Stalker 2 has encouraged some people to start trying to explore the real Chernobyl exclusion zone in real life. So the Ukrainian government has actually put out tons of notices over the last couple days, reminding people that the Chernobyl exclusion zone is an exclusion zone for a reason. It is highly radioactive and very dangerous for your health. In some of the posts, even asking the stalkers to stay out of the zone because, again, it will harm you, stating a significant number of adventurers, fans of video games, are trying to illegally enter the exclusion zone around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in search of thrills. The exclusion zone is an area closed to the public and is exposed to intense radioactive contamination. Illegal entry and stay in the zone are punishable by administrative and criminal sanctions. So a brief reminder to you, do not go somewhere that is highly radioactive unless you really just want to be hit with administrative and criminal sanctions while also risking your own life. And to be honest with you, no matter how much you like the Stalker games, I can't imagine wanting to actually be there, considering how much strife they go through. If you really want to eat bread, loaves of bread, and sausage and flesh of mutants while constantly having gravity flipped outside down and people gunning you down at all turns, then by all means. But certainly for me, I think that this is something that's better enjoyed as a concept rather than something that's enjoyed in real life. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.